Pato Man is your 2025 EUIC International Champion.
He's already stopped tapping, but he's still got a tap. Look at it go! Give it up for Pato Man!
He was down, but he was not out. Again, Pato Man seemingly having an impossible path to victory, but last second, finding just enough.
World Championships. He's got an early Sunday morning, everybody. I see you out in the crowd. You better be there cheering just like that for Pato Man tomorrow, because he's starting off on the winner's side bracket in the biggest battle of his life.
With the 2025 Pokemon Go competitive season coming to a close, there was one player this season who was far and away the best battler in the world. This trainer's results from the tournaments they went to honestly completely boggle the mind, never placing worse than 9th at any tournament, and the 3 internationals that he participated in, he got 1st, 3rd, and a 2nd place finish at the World Championships. This trainer's name is Pato Man, and today I'm going to be revisiting some of the best sets that he had throughout this competitive season, showcasing why he was the best battler in the world this year. My name is Homeslice Henry. I'm one of the official casters for the Pokemon Go Championship Series, and the first battles we'll be showcasing today are from the Gdansk Regional Championship, which was held this past November. This is a matchup between 2 of the best battlers that Europe has to offer. On the left, PvP David 07 and his team of Dugong, Gastrodon, Ariados, Pangoro, Talonflame, and Azumarill. And on the right, Pato Man, Azumarill, Golisopod, Shadow Marowak, Alolan Sandslash, Malamar, and Ariados round out his team. This series is tied 1-1, which means the winner of this next game will advance, and the loser will be eliminated from the tournament. The leads are locked in, and it's a great lead for Pato Man, leading Golisopod into Gastrodon. However, there's a problem for Pato Man, and its name is Ariados. The Ariados in the bag for David does have the ability to sweep this endgame if he's not careful. Liquidation will land, getting a defense drop, and Gastrodon is going to put up a shield. Gastrodon, these Mud Slaps, even though they are resisted, are adding up quite significantly. Gastrodon will fire off that Body Slam. It's going to connect into Golisopod, and there's the catch by Pato Man, absorbing the Body Slam on Marowak, aiming to bait out the Ariados. But he does not. Instead, he's met with Azumarill, and this is not going to plan. David's Azumarill is not what Pato was hoping to see, because now this means the Ariados for David will absolutely shred through Pato Man's Azumarill. Azumarill's Ice Beam will grab a shield from the Marowak. The only thing Pato Man has going for him at this moment is by catching a move earlier, he desynced the switch clocks, and he takes advantage here. He switches into Azumarill. David wants to switch out, but his switch clock is not available. He banks 99 energy on Azumarill, and in comes Ariados. Ariados is so far behind, the Azumarill Ice Beam will connect. That does sizable damage. David tries to CMP-type Pato Man, but Pato Man will not fall for it, instead taking the free bubble. Pato Man now gets to throw 3 bubbles and the Ice Beam. Ice Beam will absolutely be lethal, and that's going to force Ariados to burn a shield. Switch clocks up, in comes the Marowak, getting the catch and sneak, but this Mud Slap damage is genuinely valuable, so Pato shields. But there's the combo play from David. All that stored energy on Azumarill snipes down the Marowak, and now in comes Golisopod. But Azu was one off the move, it outpaces. Ice Beam is resisted, will it KO? It will not. Golisopod hangs on 1 HP, and X-Scissor will KO the Azumarill. But this gives farm to the Ariados. It's going to be a race to the charge move here, and Azumarill outpaces by 1 singular turn. Ice Beam is going to pick up the KO. In comes Gastrodon. It's in 1 bubble range, and somehow Pato Man survives what looked like an impossible game to advance in the tournament. The next regional I'll be taking you to is the Birmingham Regional Championships, where Pato Man was facing off against Christian in day number 2. Pato Man's team consists of Ariados, Talonflame, Annihilate, Azumarill, Shadow Drapion, and Shadow Feraligatr. And as you take a look at Christian's team, you may notice Christian has the identical team. These 2 trainers built this team together, so what do you do when it's a perfect mirror match? And since you built the team together, your opponent knows what your strategy is. The battlers lock in for game number 1, and it's only fitting that in a perfect mirror match of 6 Pokemon, the lead is a mirror as well, Shadow Drapion versus Shadow Drapion. Now, Christian is opting for a pretty standard team for the time, which is Shadow Drapion with 2 water types in the back to cover it, Azumarill and Shadow Feraligatr. But Patoman has made an adjustment. Patoman does have the Feraligatr in the back, but instead of an Azumarill, has Ariados. Ariados will be the safe swap. He is going to be hit with a crunch, and at the last second decides to put up a shield. Ariados now opting for a Trailblaze. This is resisted damage, hoping it will be enough to knock out here. Trailblaze does not KO. Great matchup knowledge by Christian as he understands he can survive the Trailblaze to connect with the Aqua Tail. In comes Shadow Feraligatr, and it looks like the Ariados is specifically running high attack to win charge attack priority in this matchup. This is a very IV-dependent CMP tie. Christian will go for an undercharge on the Hydro Cannon, but that is Patoman's cue to switch out. Patoman knows a Hydro Cannon will not be enough to knock out, so he won't throw just yet. Instead, he is going to be no shielding the Hydro Cannon and looking to Shadow Claw Christian into a range where Hydro Cannon can actually knock out. Hydro Cannon in a Feraligatr will pick up the KO, but in the back is that Azumarill, and Azumarill is a wall to energy from Feraligatr. Feraligatr farming up to the max amount of energy, unleashing Hydro Cannon, and immediately following it up with Hydro Cannon number 2. No shields left to protect the Azumarill, but Azumarill is tanking these hits surprisingly well. In comes the Shadow Drapion, and Drapion will put up a shield. Azumarill fires off the Ice Beam. Azumarill trying to get to another Ice Beam, but cannot get there. But this Aqua Tail will not be enough to knock out. Christian can hang on, and does, survives, gets the Ice Beam. Ice Beam will be the end of Drapion, and all that's left is a very low health Ariados and a very low health Feraligatr. Can Patoman survive a bubble on the Ariados? The answer is yes. Ariados farms down everything, survives the Poison Sting from Drapion, and takes the Game 1 win. Both battlers lock in for game number 2. It's Shadow Drapion for Patoman, in a Talonflame for Christian. Patoman safe switches Feraligatr. Feraligatr gets a 2 Shadow Claw head start, and that energy lead is going to be an absolute nightmare for Christian. Talonflame is a very long turn duration fast move, and Patoman was able to get a 2 Shadow Claw head start, and he has realized that in this mirror matchup, Shadow Feraligatr up energy has play into this entire team. Nothing on Christian's team wants to deal with the Feraligatr up energy. Patoman again ensuring that he does not throw the Hydro Cannon until the move actually knocks out. This is amazing precision. In comes the Drapion, and the Drapion is so far behind that Feraligatr is now at the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. But throwing this move would be a misplay, and Pato knows it. If he saves the Hydro Cannon for later, that means that the Talonflame is going to get one shot. Aqua Tail will connect, but Patoman has not taken enough damage on his Drapion for a second Aqua Tail to actually KO, whereas Christian would get knocked out. This Aqua Tail will not be enough to KO. Pato can hang on here. Aqua Tail lands. Christian does make a nice play, able to catch that Aqua Tail onto the Talonflame, preserving the Drapion, understanding the Talonflame was not going to have any play, considering there is a Hydro Cannon banked. In comes Patoman, there is the Hydro Cannon, and that's going to be game over for the Talonflame. All that's left is the Drapion. In comes Ariados, and this is checkmate for Christian. Crunch will land. That's some pretty significant damage. Christian just going to stop tapping as he knows there is no way out. Lunge from the Ariados, KOs the Drapion, and Patoman wins that mirror match 2-0. The next tournament I'll be taking you to is the European International Championships, one of the largest Pokemon Go competitive tournaments of all time. The final 2 trainers alive are Patoman and Z Zweilous. Z Zweilous, until playing Patoman, had not lost a single game all tournament, and whoever wins this best of 5 series will be crowned European International Champion. The battlers lock in for game number 1, and it's Primeape lead for Z Zweilous into Azumarill for Patoman. Even though this is technically a winning lead on paper for the Azumarill off of typing, Shadow Primeape's combination of incredible pacing and damage means that it can actually win the 2-shield. Patoman going to be no shielding the first 2 Rage Fists, going for an Ice Beam bait, and Z Zweilous will immediately put up a shield. Z Zweilous now going to have to deal with a safe switch into a Shadow Drapion. Building up to the close combat, baiting with the Rage Fist. The Rage Fist bait is successful and grabs a shield from Patoman. Z Zweilous wants to invest in this Primeape, so he is going to be giving up that final shield. Farming up to the close combat, Patoman, worried about a catch, is going to overfarm and not go for a CMP tie. The close combat combat is going to force a shield, and what a prediction from Zizwilus, predicting the perfect timing in which Pato Man would throw that move. Shadow Drapion is going to bank a ton of energy. In comes Galarian Corsola, but the switch timers are misaligned. This is a fact that benefits Zizwilus, as Zizwilus would love to waste the Galarian Corsola energy by sending in Diggersby. Pato Man has the back-to-back Nightshades, but it's a charge attack priority tie. The player off will get thrown, and now Zizwilus' switch clock will be up. So Zizwilus gets to send in the Diggersby, and that's going to waste Corsola's energy. Corsola is forced to throw the Power Gem to burn the switch clock as Pato Man needs to switch out, and in comes Azumarill. Azumarill will outpace and get to the Ice Beam. Ice Beam provides very, very valuable damage onto this Diggersby. He has a bunch of energy stored on the Drapion, so he's just looking to get this Diggersby into a range where he can KO with an Aqua Tail. Diggersby gonna look for a farm down after landing the Scorching Sands. Diggersby fails the farm down. It's a CMP tie, and Diggersby is forced to throw that Fire Punch. Fire Punch KOs the Azumarill. Pato Man does have a move banked on the Drapion. This is gonna be close. In comes Drapion, and the catch from Zizwilus. What a play. Pato Man only gonna hit a few bubbles. He sends in Galarian Corsola. Corsola gets a 4 Astonish farm down. How much energy does the Diggersby have? In comes Diggersby, and it gets outpaced. The Power Gem is going to be undercharged as well. Pato Man wanting to lead the Diggersby at 1 HP. Zizwilus undercharging as well. Corsola still gets KO'd. Drapion farms down, leaves with the move loaded, and Pato Man with a miracle win in game number 1. The perfect plays as the match timer counts down. We move immediately into game number 2, Diggersby into Shadow Marowak. This matchup is not a kind one to the Shadow Marowak, but with Shadow Drapion in the back, Pato Man knows he has to stay in and try and neutralize this Diggersby. No Scorching Sands debuff came through for Zizwilus. It looks like Pato Man is just going to look to overfarm quite significantly. One of the most underrated parts of Pato's game in my eyes is the fact that he tries to throw charge moves when they will actually KO. If you throw a move and it doesn't knock out, then your opponent has a free switch. But he instead overfarms to the point where it can KO, sends in a Drapion safe switch as Zizwilus brings in a Azumarill. Drapion is walled here, however, a Crunch debuff can suddenly flip the tides and make this matchup pretty okay for Drapion. Crunch, unfortunately no debuff to be seen for Pato Man. Pato Man goes down 2 shields to 0. Azumarill farming up, already at the next play rough, but there's back-to-back crunches available for the Drapion. Crunch lands onto the Azumarill. That's going to be a charge attack priority tie. Zizwilus opts to save all shields for Primeape. In comes Primeape, but Drapion with residual energy can outpace. The Marowak has a move as well. Will Pato Man go for the snipe here? He does not, but Zizwilus predicts the snipe, and that's why he undertaps the Rage Fist. Rage Fist does not KO. There's the snipe from Pato Man. Zizwilus will no shield, understanding that if it's Azumarill in the back, the Azumarill charge attack will do more damage, but the Marowak just does way too much damage to the Primeape, and Pato Man takes the 2-0 series lead. We see a very familiar matchup as the leads in game number 3, Shadow Marowak once again facing off with the Primeape. Primeape bluffing a potential close combat, Pato Man will respect it, and now this Primeape is boosted. Primeape's biggest issue in this matchup is going to be the Mud Slaps. They are just deleting the Primeape's health bar. Primeape going to stay in, hoping for the Rage Fist, but the Mud Slap KOs. Very low on health is this Marowak. Marowak will go for the Bone Club, hoping that bubble did not knock out, but it did, and unfortunately that move is lost. In the back is Diggersby. Diggersby answered with the Azumarill. Diggersby, if it gets a Scorching Sands attack drop right away, could spell disaster for the Azumarill. The Scorching Sands does get the attack drop, and that's going to make Pato's life so much more difficult. Pato will put up a shield, but with that debuff, Zizwilus may have the keys to victory in forcing a game number 4 and keeping this series alive. Another Scorching Sands will land, no debuff this time, but the damage has already been done. Getting the debuff on that first Scorching Sands changes this interaction so drastically. There's the switch into the Drapion. Drapion Aqua Tail will force the final shield from Diggersby, but Diggersby gets to force the shield right back with the Scorching Sands. And then in comes Azumarill. The Scorching Sands did get the attack drop. A second attack drop means these crunches, which are already resisted, are going to be doing absolutely laughable damage. No crunch debuff as well. And this series is going to continue. Z's Wireless fights off elimination. Pato Man banks a crunch, switches into the Azumarill, but he just cannot outpace. Play Rough will knock him out. Drapion does not have enough energy or enough health, and we go to game 4. Great lead for Pato Man in game number 4. Shadow Marowak into the Charjabug. Z's Wireless safe switches into the Primate, building up to the close combat, baiting with the Rage Fist, and Pato Man will always respect it, as a rogue close combat landing is the only way Marowak will not win this matchup. Marowak going to fire off the Bone Club this time, grabbing a shield from Z's Wireless. Z's Wireless goes for the Rage Fist, but since he didn't build up to the close combat, Pato Man gets the no shield. Pato Man looking for the farm down, gets the farm down, exits with so much energy, and he's looking to pivot out into the Drapion. Z's Wireless will bring in Diggersby. Diggersby answered with the Shadow Drapion. This is a good matchup for Diggersby, but Z's Wireless pivots out. He's reading its Galarian Corsola as the final Pokemon, but this time it is not. This time it is Azumarill, and this will be a win for Pato Man. Crunch lands, picking up the KO. You can see on Pato's face, he knows he's won, and Z's Wireless recognizes it as well. It is not the Galarian Corsola in the back, it is the Azumarill, and that Azumarill is going to carry Pato Man to the title of European International Champion. The Aqua Tail is going to land, the claps from Z's Wireless, as he knows there's just no way out for Diggersby. Diggersby can knock out the Drapion with the Scorching Sands, but in comes the full health Azumarill, and Pato Man has done it. One of the largest Pokemon Go tournaments of all time. He is the 2025 European International Champion. And finally, I'll be showcasing games from the World Championships. These games will be from the Winners Finals. The Winners Finals matchup is Pato Man versus Beelzebub. Pato Man is running a team with Lapras, Galarian Corsola, Shadow Marowak, Shadow Claw, Golisopod, Credilli, and Fortress. And his team is incredibly weak to the Galarian Moltres of Beelzebub, as Moltres is able to defeat all 6 of Pato Man's Pokemon. So this matchup will be an absolute nightmare. Battlers lock in for game number 1, and Pato Man gets the lead call right. Galarian Corsola into Annihilate. Beelzebub save switches into Steelix. He's keeping that overpowered Galarian Moltres in the back, hoping that it will be able to sweep the game for him. This Steelix save switch is an attempt to bait out that Credilli. Pato Man knows it. If he does not save the Credilli for the Moltres, he's gonna get swept. So he stays in with the Corsola, fires off the back-to-back Nightshades, and Beelzebub is gonna decide to let Steelix go. But suddenly, this Annihilate has an ability to sweep Pato Man's backline, so Pato Man will have to pivot. He brings in Lapras, but Beelzebub sends in the Galarian Moltres. And now Pato Man does not have the alignment that he's looking for. Moltres will fire off energy, Pato Man will put up the shield, but it is only going to be the fly. Pato Man, now it's his turn to bait. He's baiting with the Sparkling Aria. Beelzebub is gonna no shield, calling the Sparkling Aria. Ice Beam would not have knocked out either, but it would have done massive damage. And with that bait call, Beelzebub looks like he's in a pretty terrific position. Beelzebub will full send the Brave Bird, looking to guarantee the final shield or the knockout. Pato Man will shield, aggressive switch into Annihilate, and Annihilate will immediately have to give up the final shield as Sparkling Aria comes through. In comes Galarian Corsola, but Corsola is nowhere near a move. Corsola does get valuable Astonish damage onto the Annihilate, but Annihilate picks up the knockout. And now, unfortunately for Pato Man, there's no way out here in this game number 1. In comes Credilli. Credilli gets to the Grass Knot in 7 acids, but Annihilate gets to the Ice Punch in 7 counters. Ice Punch KOs Credilli. In comes Lapras. Annihilate farms down. And this matchup is just an absolute nightmare. Unfortunately, things are not getting easier in the next match as he leads Lapras into Annihilate, and he's ABA weak with Fortress in the back. Annihilate goes for the Rage Fist. Pato Man knows that Lapras does have an ability to take home a 0 shield win, so he will fire off this Aria. That's going to connect, and Lapras is going to get farmed down. The moment he sends in the Galarian Corsola, Beelzebub will be able to pivot. He sends in the Moltres. Moltres swiftly answered with the Fortress. Beelzebub goes for the fly, not even building up to the Brave Bird, hoping presumably for a no shield, but Pato Man will put up the shield. Pato Man, Rock Tomb, fired off right before Beelzebub is able to make his next fly, and Beelzebub will no shield. There is still that Annihilate, and it is pretty healthy. In comes the Annihilate. Annihilate just gets the ramp up. This Sand Tomb It's not going to knock out, but it's going to get the Annihilate very low. Annihilate will no-shield. There's a simultaneous switch. Galarian Corsola into the Steelix. Corsola does have a small energy head start. Will connect with the Nightshade as Beelzebub will no-shield. Beelzebub, no baits, going straight for the crunch. Decision point in the match. Pato Man is going to no-shield. Crunch lands, and that is some pretty significant damage. Beelzebub will have to shield. This Nightshade will knock out. Steelix has a bunch of loaded energy, and the Corsola so low that Steelix can just go straight for the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs will be shielded. Pato Man doesn't want to stay in while debuffed. In comes Fortress. Beelzebub gonna ramp up his damage with Rage Fist. He's gonna try and farm this Corsola into one Thunderfang range. It's gonna be close. In comes Steelix. Corsola survives, and Pato Man evens the series. Game 3 brings us the same leads as game number 1. Beelzebub this time making an adjustment. He's safe switching that Moltres, not relying on it to close, and Moltres is going to be met with Lapras. Moltres builds up to the Brave Bird, goes for the fly. What a bait call by Pato Man. These Psywaves doing basically nothing to the Moltres, going straight for the Ice Beam, and Ice Beam will grab a shield. Lapras continues the farm, gets to the Ice Beam. Beelzebub thinks about it. Is it enough? He lets it go. It is the Ice Beam. It connects. And now Pato Man has an ability to make a play for alignment. Pato Man lands the Ice Beam through the shield, wins switch advantage, and that's so important for him. As in the back, it's the Steelix. He gets to bank a move, send in Credilli, and Pato Man is going to survive. A miscount by Beelzebub in the mid-game there. He didn't think it was quite enough energy for the Ice Beam, but Pato Man is able to escape. This matchup is just unbelievably terrible for Pato Man, as again, I cannot stress enough, he has no Pokemon that beat Galarian Moltres. Steelix will go for the Crunch. Crunch lands. It's some pretty significant damage, but the Grass Knot will connect. In comes Galarian Corsola, and Galarian Corsola can now just farm up to the back-to-back moves. Corsola always going to be no-shielding the Crunch, as a move from Annihilate will do more. Back-to-back Nightshades means it's over for Beelzebub. He does not have a way out. In comes Annihilate, and this Nightshade will just do way too much damage. Nightshade connects. Corsola gets the Astonish down, and Pato Man is able to survive. These trainers would meet once again in the finals of the World Championships. Pato Man, despite the insurmountable team comp disadvantage, was able to force it to a decisive Game 5, but Beelzebub, with that trusty Galarian Moltres, was able to take home the title of 2025 Pokemon Go World Champion. As I look back across this competitive year, there have been some truly unbelievable performances. We had Marto Galde winning 4 tournaments in one singular season. We had Boom, who won his one and only tournament that he ever competed in. We had Philbag, a trainer who had the second ever perfect tournament in competitive Pokemon Go history. But to me, when I think about who is the best trainer in the world this year, there can only be one answer, and that answer is Pato Man. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this is More Slice Henry, my second channel, so if you enjoy watching content related to the Pokemon Go Championship Series, educational content, and just whatever content that I want to make that I don't feel like fits on the main channel, definitely do consider dropping a subscription, and I'll see you guys in the next video.